For context, I, 34 female, am currently about 6 months pregnant. I am pregnant with my and my husband's second child. My mother-in-law and I honestly have a pretty bitter relationship. She doesn't approve of me or my family background. When I had my first child, my husband had asked me if I had considered letting my mother-in-law be in the delivery room. I told him absolutely not, and afterward, he never really brought it up. I ended up having my husband and my mother there as support. My husband and I are now discussing who I want in the delivery room, and I told him I was fine with the same arrangement I had last time. However, my husband was clearly not happy about the decision, as I could hear him mumbling something under his breath. I asked if he had a problem with the arrangement. He spoke up and claimed he did. He stated it was massively unfair that I would allow my mother in the delivery room, but not his. He mentioned that since I got to choose who was in the delivery room last time, he should choose who gets to be inside the room this time. I told him he was insane if he thought I would let his mother see me in extreme pain. It would be an incredibly uncomfortable situation. He was upset and left the house. I've been trying his friends to see if they've seen him recently, but without any luck. I contacted my mother-in-law, but she said she had absolutely no idea that my husband wanted her in the delivery room in the first place, and that she hadn't heard from him in a while. I'm honestly kind of freaking out both from stress and guilt. I'm worried that my husband isn't okay, but I also can't help but feel guilty that I drove him away. I don't know if I should stay with my current decision anymore. Am I the idiot? When did squeezing a whole other person out of your body become a spectator sport? Then, of course, you want your mom there. I think most women do if they have a nice relationship for support. I'm older than you, but there has been the occasional day that I just want my mommy, damn it. And why would you want someone in the delivery room who doesn't even like you when your cash and prizes are hanging out there for everyone to see? Not the idiot, not by a long shot. Well, you got to pick last time. It's my turn. What? I've not heard anything more immature all week. Tell him that the first 2 kids you carried to term and delivered, he can gestate the next child and deliver it if he can figure out how. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The baby's body is a part of the mother's body until she gives birth. Therefore, the father's rights do not exist until that moment because there is no child until that moment. Labor and birth are 100% the mother's choice because it's her body. When her body becomes 2 bodies, then dad gets a say. Your body, your choice. How is this difficult for people to comprehend? Do not back down over this. I will never understand men who want their mom, sister, brother, BFF, pet pig to see the woman giving birth. It's also massively unfair that you're the one carrying and birthing the baby, and you're the one that's going through the labor. If he's struggling emotionally or mentally, I hope he decides to get help. You didn't drive him away. His immaturity and need to be in control caused this. For some context, my 20 male, mom 38, married my stepdad, 35, 10 years ago, and they had my brother, pre-tween, Scott. I see my stepdad as my father, and his family as my paternal family, so I'll refer to him as dad, and my step-granddad as gran. My dad has a GTR that my gran gave him a few years ago. That car is sick. He also has a normal car that he drives to work, so the GTR is more fun and show off. My bro and I love that car, and my dad lets me drive it whenever I want. He even added me to the insurance when I turned 19 because I used the car almost every day until I could buy my own. Last week I noticed Scott was a bit sad, and he said that some kids were bullying him. Our parents went to his school to talk to the principal, and the problem was somewhat fixed, but he was still bummed. So I decided to surprise him yesterday by picking him up in our dad's car. I parked the car and got out to wait for him. I was sitting in the trunk when a guy approached me and said that I shouldn't sit in other people's cars. I laughed it off and said that it was mine, so it wasn't a problem. But I must admit that I do look younger than 20, so he might have mistaken me for a high schooler and didn't believe me. He said that the car couldn't be mine and that I should get down before the owner got back. I said that it was my car again, and he got mad at me and said, "Look, son, this isn't your car. Get down. I'll even take a picture of you two with it." I was getting nervous, and when I get nervous, I tend to laugh. So he thought I was mocking him and yelled at me to get down if the car belonged to me and show him proof. Then he yelled that I was trying to steal the car. I asked him to leave me alone because I was waiting for my brother, and he did move a few meters. But then I noticed that he was making a call, and it turned out that he called the police on me. My brother was getting out at the same time. He was really happy to see me there in our dad's car and ran up to me. I tried to pick him up to get him in, but the guy stopped me. I opened the door. It was obvious that the car was mine at that point. Either way, the police came and asked the normal questions. I explained to them that it was my dad's car, and the guy said, "Ha, I knew it wasn't yours." I showed them my proof, my license, my dad's papers, the insurance paper with my name on it, and even a text with my dad where I said, "Hey, I'm going to pick up Scott in the car," and he only answered with an okay. I offered to call him so they could ask him themselves, but they said there was no need. So the police let me leave and scolded the other guy. Before driving off, the guy called me names because I could have just shown him all that, but I preferred to be an idiot. Not the idiot. This is what happens when people think they can get away with policing people without being actual police. And that guy had some bloody nerve and very delusional perception of the appropriate response here. That guy was a Class A busybody who needed to get a hobby. You were under no obligation, moral, ethical, or legal, to show him anything. He should have moved on without saying anything other than, "Hey man, nice car." The dude needed to mind his own business. You were obligated to show the police your proof, not Joe can't stay in his own lane, blow. That's sketchy. I'm a girl, but imagine someone pestering me and wanting proof. Your license and registration has some personal information on it, and reading that immediately gave me stalker vibes. Probably not the case, but just a point about how weird this is. Or if else I'd be concerned about them trying to find your address to try and steal your car. It just doesn't seem right to share personal info with a stranger. Who steals a GTR to pick up their youngest brother from school, especially if you think they're a teenager? Do you think a teenager willing to steal a supercar would stop to pick up their younger brother from school? What the heck? As a woman who rides a large motorcycle, I feel your pain. LOL. My 21 female stepsister Kara, 22, and I go to the same college. We also went to the same school. She struggled with school, so I often had to give her my notes and tutor her. I never particularly liked doing it, but I wanted to move out, and they had agreed to pay me, so I did it anyway. When we got into college, I chose to major in computer science. I always liked coding, found it easy, and was vocal about it. I don't know if Kara wanted to or if her mother forced her to, but she ended up choosing to major in computer science. Kara's mom didn't ask me to help in college, so I didn't. If she had trouble with something and came to me, I politely told her to review the lectures. She would come to me like at 11 at night, always right before tests or exams. She would leave. Anyways, we found out that Kara won't be able to graduate this year due to her low GPA. There was a family gathering back on Saturday, and Kara's mom was moaning about how I'm such a brat who refused to help her daughter and how I wanted to ruin Kara's life. I ignored her at first, but during dinner, even my dad said I should have lent her my notes or something, and his wife loudly thanked him. I got angry and told them that Kara's education was not my responsibility and that she should have chosen to switch majors when she found out that it wasn't for her. But some people got mad at me and said that I was being a witch, and lending my notes or helping her study wouldn't hurt me. So I told her that she could take her own notes and that I couldn't be expected to spoon feed her all the time, and left. I agree that it wouldn't hurt me to help her, but I feel like I was being taken advantage of. I got texts from Kara and her mom calling me some names, and my dad apologized to me for an unknown reason. I don't know if it was a sarcastic apology, hinting that what I did was idiot-like behavior. Maybe I shouldn't have said it at a gathering. Am I the idiot for doing it? Not the idiot at all. You're right. Her education is not your responsibility. It's hers and hers alone. If she struggled with the course so much, why only come to you the night at 11 damn p.m. before the test or exams? Students are notified at the beginning of the semester when the exam dates are, and that is her responsibility to keep track of them. In my opinion, it's best to go low contact with your parents. They seem to think that Kara's grades depend on you, and that's extremely unhealthy for both you and her. Plus, do the parents think that OP is going to spoon-feed Kara all her life? If she graduated on time with the help of OP and got a job, was OP going to work 2 jobs so she could spoon-feed Kara all the work help she'll need? At a certain point, she had to sink or swim on her own, and if she needed extra help, it was up to her to ask OP or anyone else in her course for study sessions well before it became a crisis. At what point does it stop? Do they expect you both to work at the same place and have you do both your job and hers? Time for Kara to grow up and her mom to stop coddling her. This shouldn't even be a question. You are not responsible for making sure someone does what they need to do, nor help them do what they know they need to do. She let her mom dig her into a hole, tell her to go to class, take notes, and tutor her own grown daughter. Your dad is an idiot for siding against you, and anybody else that faults you is also an idiot. Your dad apologized because your remark made him see and understand your perspective, basically because he thinks you're right. And to be clear, you are right. Your dad needs to grow some backbone here, be an adult, and put the rules on your stepmother and her stepdaughter. Someone has to be the adult, and it's a shame it has to be you. I live in a small town, less than 1,000 people here, and everyone is connected somehow. It's a very close community that values the good old days in problematic ways. So my son is joining a summer program to give him something to do over his summer break, while his mom and I work. He met another little boy at the program, and they became close friends. My son asked if his friend could come over, but I'd have to meet his parents first. So I went over to his parents' home only to find a single mom, which was fine. What isn't fine for me is that I know this woman tangentially. She is a very, let's say, free spirit and does what she wants with her body when she wants to. She has been rumored to hunt other single dads at PTA meetings. However, what she's a bit more infamous for is adultery. I know of 2 married men who slept with this woman, so this is what bothered me. My wife works in a city and commutes every day. I don't, so I'm the one chasing our kid. This means that if my son finds a new best friend in this new kid, I may be in trouble. The idea of being around a woman who's been with so many men and a few married men doesn't seem good, especially when my wife is always out. So I told her she seemed nice, but I don't know about our kids being friends, as I know it'll make me interact with her now, given her reputation. She immediately flipped the switch and was angry. She accused me of shaming her and said that I needed to leave. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Rumors in a small town are almost always made up BS, and that's coming from someone who lives in a small town as well. Even if she did sleep with the married men, she's not the adulterer. The married men were, and you don't know if she knew they were in marriages or not. The number of men who lie that they're separated or in an open marriage or in the process of a divorce is astronomical. Small town or not, it's not any harder to lie to a person in a small town that you're in the middle of a quiet divorce or quiet separation. You're an idiot. You shouldn't have anything to worry about if you don't intend to cheat on your wife. It would be different if this woman made any advances on you, but she's done nothing and has indicated nothing. I can also see it as everyone I know will think I'm sleeping with her due to her reputation. My reputation is more important than my son's friendship. OP would still be wrong, but I can understand that concern, especially if they have family in that town. So the issue isn't the influence she'll have on your son, but the influence she'll have on you? Because obviously if she's so free-spirited, she'll use her womanly wiles to lure you into bed and force you to cheat on your wife, right? A great example for your son. Blame the woman for a husband cheating, and your ego must be huge to think she'd want you. You sound like a judgmental jerk. I don't blame her for kicking you out. My boyfriend, 32 male, is a doctor. I met him through my dad back when we were traveling, and after we started dating, he started coming over to my hometown to visit. When I introduced him to my family and friends, I told them his full name, occupation, and other things like age, hometown, etc. All good until months later, when he started complaining about my family and friends referring to him by his first name and not putting doctor before. I found this strange. I told him that's his professional title, but as a society, we use first names, nicknames, etc. He said he couldn't help but feel annoyed, especially considering that these people don't know him well. But it's been 8 months. He said that once we're married or engaged, they can start referring to him using his first name. Recently, he started correcting me whenever my friends or family call him by his name. His tone becomes aggressive, and then he goes on a long lecture about how they should put doctor before mentioning his name. It became exhausting because my friends and family couldn't understand his strange hang-up, and he kept picking fights with them about it. Last night, we were visiting my parents, and my dad called him Justin instead of Dr. Justin. My boyfriend started arguing with him, which caused a huge fight in the house, and we ended up leaving. In the car, he went off on me, saying I'm letting family and friends disrespect him continually by letting them call him just his name. I told him he was at fault here, and he was being unreasonable because what he was expecting was bizarre. He said he took pride in his profession and sacrificed so much to get where he is today, and my family and friends literally lose nothing if they respect his wishes. He called me an enabler and said that siding with them puts me in a bad light and advised me to step up and take a stand. But again, I thought he was overreacting and being hostile for no reason. We got home and he shut me down and refused to speak to me. Mom called me later and we talked a bit. Today he's gone completely radio silent, but the look on his face is telling. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but I smell a narcissist. Uber narcissist. I work with doctors for a living. It's a very formal way to interact, even if you aren't in a medical setting. Most of the doctors I work with prefer I call them by their name. The ones who insist on being called doctor are all basically giant idiots. This needs a wow. Your boyfriend's ego is the size of a hospital. I'm sure he has some nice things about him, despite sounding unlikely by this post. But this issue alone is a huge red flag. Huge. This is telling you exactly who he is, and it's not a pretty picture. Not the idiot, but you need to leave this egotistical person who sounds more like a tyrannical doctor villain in a Marvel movie than an actual person. Yuck, yuck, yuck. OMG, my husband is a doctor, and no one we know socially has ever called him Dr. X. I don't even think he has people call him doctor at work. This is the wildest thing. Completely ridiculous on your boyfriend's part. For your own sake, dump this idiot. You are not the idiot, and he seems controlling and stuck up. It seems like he thinks your family is less than him, and he generally seems like an idiot. Good luck, LOL.